Breaking news. Spurs have officially announced a manager. Yes, finally after so many days and months and what feels like about 84 different years, we have finally appointed a manager. And boy does it feel good to have someone who's not a confrontational idiot. Yes, that's right, we've appointed Nuno Espirito Santo on a 2-year deal. The 47-year-old joins us not long after leaving Wolves, where he's been for a number of years. Um, and I just wanted to give you some stats and my opinion on what will basically happen, how we'll line up, and whether it's going to be a decent fit, and what my hopes are for the future. It won't be too long. It's not going to be like 37 minutes like the last Southgate out video, which I may do a follow on. I haven't decided yet. But I'm just going to read off my second screen some stats that I have. He just looking over here. He led Rio Ave, which is a small to mid-table Portuguese Liga NOS side, to the Portuguese Cup. So I think they won that, and the League Cup finals. No, and they qualified for the Europa League in the first time in their history. So that's pretty good. He then moved on to Valencia, where he finished fourth. They had a pretty decent team back then. It wasn't in such a a mess as it is now. So that's pretty good. I'm not sure how well they did in the Champions League. But then he obviously got fired. I believe they played a 4-4-2 in Valencia, and also a 4-3-3. Then he moved to the Portuguese heavyweight. They are Portuguese. He moved back into Portuguese heavyweights that are Porto. And he finished runners-up in that one. I'm just looking now. And then, of course, he moved to Wolves, who were in the Championship. Finished as champions. I believe they were 14th the season before. They arrived before he arrived, and they went straight up. Obviously, with the George Mendes influence there, Wolves were considered the Portugal FC of the Championship and of the Premier League, and of course he led Wolves to back-to-back 7th places in his first 2 seasons in the Premier League, and he also finished lower down this season, but of course they had injuries and all sorts going on at the club. So take this this season's result with a huge pinch of salt. I mean, you could pretty say that about most clubs, but the fact they lost Raul Jimenez to that freakish fractured skull against Arsenal, and that just completely changed their season. And it doesn't reflect on how good Nuno actually is. But with us going to Nuno, that does mean a few things. That means that unfortunately for some Spurs fans, Matt Doherty will probably be a nailed-on starter. I can see us going one of 3 ways for our formation. I can see us going to a 4-3-3, which we had the players for. That seems to be what he was using more at Wolves towards the end of his tenure. So yeah, you can have Son, Kane and Lucas as the front three, and then the midfield four will pick itself. I did read on the internet this afternoon before this was announced that they were looking at 4-4-2 from his time at Valencia. I know there's some people out there that absolutely adore 4-4-2, but it is a bit more of a dinosaur formation than it once was. So hopefully, if it is, it's a bit more flexible 4-4-2, a bit like the Ralph Hasenhüttl formation at Southampton, where it's not actually 4-4-2, but it can play like it. But I think we'll go back to a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2, which is probably the most familiar formation that Nuno likes to play. And hopefully, with the signings we're linked with making, there's at least 3 centre-backs I've seen us linked with. Some Japanese bloke who I can't remember the pronunciation of, so I'm not even going to try it. Milan Skriniar, Joaquin Anderson. So if we could get a couple of centre-backs in, and obviously a new right-back, then I think we'll go to a 3-4-3 with Hugo in goal, 2 of the new centre-backs, probably Rodon would probably be in there. I mean, you've got Toby Alderweireld, which may be alright, but because he's getting a bit slower, in a 3 it might work better. So then you have Doherty as your right wing back, Reguilon as your left wing back. Then you'd probably have Højbjerg and then Dombele as your 2 middle players. Your double pivot, which is one of my favourite phrases in football. No one actually understands it, but I'll explain that in another video. And then you'll have your Son on your left wing, Kane in the middle, presuming he stays, and then you'd have Lucas and Bergwijn vying for the right wing position, and that would also, that formation gives us the defensive stability that we need, and it also gives us the attacking flair that many of the fans are crying out for, with the wing backs bombing forward, one of the midfielders in the double pivot hanging back, and the other one being allowed to go, hence making it a pivot. So all in all, it's a pretty good appointment. It is slightly underwhelming after about 73 days. If you said to me, as soon as Jose was sacked, Nuno was coming, I'd have been like, oh, okay, it's not too bad. But I think after all this waiting for it, it's a little bit underwhelming. But you always support the manager. And I mean, had you said this to me last year, that Nuno would be coming in, then I would probably bitten your hand off. He's a man manager. He manages on the field. He then let Levy and Patrici, the new director of football, do their thing. He doesn't sort of say, I want this player. He just does what he's given with. He won't say, I want. He'll say, I want a forward, but he won't say what type. He'll just say, I need a striker. I need a left winger. So to end this video, I'm going to do with 3 players I think that will drastically improve under Nuno. And also 3 players I'd like us to pinch from Wolves, if possible. So I'm going to start with the Wolves players because they're so much easier to do. I reckon if it was me, I'd go all out and break the bank for Connor Cody. It's been quite clear to me watching Wolves. Connor Cody is a leader. He manages to do everything that Nuno asks of him. He's dynamic. He's got leadership, and he's actually forged a better career since leaving Liverpool. They always thought he was going to struggle, and that's the thing when you leave a huge academy. But it's been proved that Cody is worth his transfer fee. I think he's worth about 30 million. I think, off the top of my head. I'm not gonna search it out because I'm currently watching my brother stream some sort of Falcon 9 SpaceX rideshare transporter 2 good movie with Jason Statham in it actually. So I'm recording this as I'm watching that. So I've got two things to do, and this is a slightly new setup. So hopefully, it's all right for you. Obviously, if it's up on YouTube, it obviously is. Yeah. So getting back because I end up going off track. So Connor Cody is my number one signing, and then my second signing would be Pedro Neto. I think he's a fantastic player. He's dynamic, he's quick, he's good with both feet, and that would give us competition for a few places because he could also play up front and he can also play on the wing. So, and with a few people leaving, I think he would be a really good starter for us. And if excuse me, I'm just gonna have a drink because I'm. Oh, that's better. That's the thing with these live videos; they're all going to be not edited. So yeah, because this is only going to be a short one. Yeah. So Pedro Neto can fill places, and with people leaving, he's going to be a starter or an impact sub. And I just think playing under Nuno before, he would be quite good for us. And the third player is probably the most obvious. Excuse me. It would be Adama Traore. Just purely for the pace, skill, and trickery. There's not much that needs to be said. You could sell Lucas perhaps. If I don't think Bale's going to come back for a second year, so why not see if we can poach him for 35 to 40 million. And I think he would be a pretty good, dynamic winger for us. So yeah, I'm happy with the fact he's come from a decently run club before, because he just gets on with it. So that might help him. I mean, the fact that it's a 2-year contract is a little bit strange, but I suppose we've learnt from the Jose Mourinho saga not giving too much of a contract away. But the three players that I think will drastically improve under Nuno. I'm not going to pick the obvious ones because they won't drastically improve. So I think you'll have obviously Doherty. He's had a poor season compared to his previous at Wolves. So he'll be getting up and down the field. And he'll be providing the assists. If we can cross the ball properly, that is. So that will be good. I also think Ryan Sessegnon will flourish under someone like Nuno. I mean, he can play in a multitude of positions. And he's obviously come back from being on loan at Hoffenheim in Germany, where he had a mixed season, but the fans loved him. So hopefully he can come back and do well. And the third one is I'm going to get pelters for. I know it, I can just see it on Twitter now. It is yeah, I'm gonna leave you in suspense for a bit. Yeah, the third one would be Eric Dyer. I think again Eric is versatile. I know he wants to play at centre back, but honestly, I see him more as a defensive midfielder. So as backup to Hoybier, but I think watching Harry Maguire yesterday and seeing him break through the German lines, he was doing that regularly, and I think Eric has sort of the same stature. They're both quite bulky and stiff, but can move with the ball, and I think under Nuno he could probably play as the Connor Cody of Tottenham if we didn't sign Connor Cody, as I said in the last bit. Yeah, I just think obviously he speaks Portuguese, so that helps. I don't speak any Portuguese, other than Porto, Nandos, and custard tarts, which I may say are excellent from Nandos if you get them. I think they're called Nata or something like that. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the appointment. Just a little bit confused why it's taken this long. But I did say when Nuno got sacked, that he would probably come, and then it was found out that he wouldn't, and then obviously now it is. Why is it taking this long? Surely we would have had a plan, or maybe this was part of the plan. Maybe we wanted to wait until Petici was in. He doesn't actually officially start till tomorrow, so it's a bit funny, but I keep seeing that he's done deals for this player, he's done deals for that player. But yeah, I'd give this appointment a solid, 7 out of 10. It's not Mourinho where you think, oh God, it's 4 out of 10, and then by the time he leaves, it's a -4. So overall, I'm really happy, and I just hope we can have a good season. Thank you all for watching, and come on, you Spurs.